MiniWarGaming Dan here from MiniWarGaming.com. Hopefully you guys don't get dizzy, but basically I'm going to show you my Cygnar army. Okay, for all those you're wondering, because like different guys pop up every once in a while. Those of you guys who watch my painting vlog, okay, I'm getting dizzy. You know, I'm just working on different guys, getting closer, but it got to the point where I've realized that I got about 136 points now off Cygnar, which, considering I only started a few months ago, is a pretty big jump, and it's awesome. And I just laid it all out, and I can't wait to show you guys. Now, some of them aren't finished. Some of them just have their base to be done. Some of them are, well, almost all of them needs to be done. And so we'll just talk about what I have, how I use them, how I like to use them, and just how much I love Cygnar. And maybe we'll get some Tactica going too, because I think I've played enough now that I kind of know what's going on. Still lots to learn though. It's mostly just other factions now, seeing what they're capable of. But anywho, here we are. Oh, shake. Alright. Shaking over. So here is 136 points of Cygnar. And that's minus Warcasters. So let's start with the Warcasters actually. So we got Striker. I've had it from the beginning. He's pretty awesome, and I still enjoy fielding him, to be honest. He's great. And because there's Siege, who's just very powerful, and for some reason my casters are white except Siege. He's too black. He had to have a black base. Yeah. Okay, so there's Siege. He's awesome. So Striker, I'm gonna sit down here. Excuse the rumbling camera for a second. Alright. So Striker, his advantage, he has just a very support caster. He casts a lot of defensive spells or just buffing spells. And then with his Earthquake, because it's really only big offensive spell that you use often, is very useful and a very utility caster. And he just kind of helps everything stay alive, and he's kind of moves up, feats, hope you survive, and then the counter charge hopefully wins you the game. But with so much damage out there, it's somewhat unreliable, but it's really, really fun to, for example, all your infantry. We'll get to them in a sec. Because they just have ridiculous armor, and to kill them you need like a heavy jack hitting with a heavy hit, which is just, you can't get enough of those to kill your infantry. So it's really, his feat turn really helps your infantry stay alive, more so than your jacks, I think. Although it definitely helps with jacks. Siege, he is the very epitome of offense. He just, well, he lays siege and breaks down walls. With his ground pounder, you can just kill any solo. It's really hard to hide from him. He can just boost a hit and damage that, and just massacre things. Force hammer pushes things around. If there's any hole in your brick as you're walking up, you can just push a heavy jack through a bunch of solos or units behind them, and not only does it push the heavy jack further back, but it also kills a bunch of units and then they're knocked down. So it's just, he is really fun, and his feat just massacres everything on the board. It's pretty awesome. Then there is Darius, he's fun. He's kind of slower moving, just supports jacks and just keeps your jacks running. And he's just awesome with the Colossal. Well, we'll get to that. And his half jacks are hilarious. You know, one hopping on a rock there. So it is good times with Darius. Alright, and I have another caster over there. He's not done yet. We'll get to him in a moment. Okay, so that's casters. Let's go over to solos. We got Reinhold, and he's great with Siege mostly, but also Darius. Just if he gets to get a free attack, free ranged shot, ignoring rate of fire, that's awesome. Or a free random semi-boosted, you know, you get an extra die, take away the lowest. Squire, you know, a couple extra focus, extended control range the whole time, re-rolling on magic attacks. He's fantastic solo. He's 2 points. We got, I guess this isn't a solo, but almost. Ion and Holt, great mercenary couple. I need to base them. I know. But they, yeah, Iona has some great spells and abilities, and Holt can deal out a decent amount of damage. Got Journeyman, 3 points. Basically like a mini warcaster with 3 focus. So controlling jacks, she really has to be really a ranged jack, to be honest, because otherwise you're getting up too close and she can easily be killed and your jack goes inert instead of autonomous. and you have to be within 6 inches of your jack to allocate focus, because her control, it's double your focus, right? So it's only focus 3. So that's it's a bit tricky, and she's easy to snipe off sometimes. But it's good to just bring her to have an extra arcane shield, because you've got an upkeep spell, plus 3 armor, which is awesome. And then she could just run around with her hand cannon and boost to hit, because she only has Rat 4. We got Gun Mage Captain Adept. Just good solo. Phantom Seeker, he can just slaughter other solos and doesn't need line of sight, and can boost his range from 10. So he's just good at just killing those little solos that are trying to kill your solos. And he's nice and cheap. Alright, let's get some units. We got Arcane Tempest Gun Mages with the UA. So they're awesome for a couple of reasons. One, they have true sight with the UA, and any Jack to the Marshal gets their Rune Shot, which allows it to either push back, critical knockdown, or critical brutal, or snipe. And so it just makes your jacks really diverse. So something that doesn't need a lot of focus, maybe 1 or 2 focus normally, would be great with the, and of course, range jack. Kind of like a defender or a hunter. I think defender, it's kind of expensive, but pretty awesome. Or a cyclone, they're great. Moving on, we got the long gunners, just pretty weak, and if you scratch them, they fall over crying for their mama, but they can deal out so much damage with their CRA, especially full squad, and with the UA. You get ranked attacks, so you don't have to worry about positioning perfectly, and everything can just move around them. Black 13th, well, they're the Black 13th. They're like the Swiss Army knife. They're just a toolbox of destruction. They have prowl, so they have stealth and forest or area AoEs. And they can just, they have always brutal, they don't have to use critical brutal, but they have like the 3 options as well. Just awesome stuff. Then, this is extremely new. I only painted them last night, to be honest. Although, I'm filming this while the servers are down, so you probably won't see this for a little while. But I had a lot of fun painting them. Nice, easy paint scheme. I got to base them still. That's why they're white underneath. I'll just put some grass under. Basically, they're cool because they can't be targeted. They're precursor knights. They can't be targeted by spells or, spells. They can still get damaged by them, I guess, if you cast it over or there's bouncing involved. But they have Blessed Hammers, so they ignore buffs to armor and defense from spells. They have decent Palpable Strength, and they have Mat 7, so they're pretty beastly in combat. And I don't have the UA yet, which I'm planning to get shortly, but allows them to have a mini feat of an extra damage die for 1 turn, which is awesome. It's not boosted, so you can charge and get 4, Palpable Strength 12. Yes, please. And they're awesome. Then we got Arlen Versh, I think his name is. He's all cool. So he's got that little quad gun, so he can shoot 4 times per turn. If he hits, he can shoot again up to 4 times. Gets extra damage die on anything that has an upkeep spell on it, and also cannot be targeted by spells. He's just cool, just cheap solo that can potentially just wipe out a lot of infantry. Moving on, we got some jacks, but we'll get to them instead. We got the sword knights. Again, they all need to be based. But okay, so the reasoning between, I got 2 squads of 6. I bought 2 boxes, okay, and the UA. The reason for this is because Darius's tiered list, you need 2 squads of sword knights to get his upper tier, which means every heavy jack costs 1 less, and the UA comes for free. So essentially, 2 squads of these guys is 8 points usually, and then plus that would be 9, 10. And say you're bringing 3 heavy jacks, if you're for the points cost, basically minusing 5, so it's only costing 5 points for all of these guys, and then fitting in everything. That's basically what it works out to. But they're cool. They have flank for faction warjack, and so if you have jacks with reach like the Centurion or the Stormclad, or anything else, maybe like a Firefly, it's just a lot easier to get in, and then they get an extra damage die. So that's also potentially a lot of damage output, but they're pretty weak. They get in the base to base with each other. Oh yeah, precursors have shield wall, and so they can have up to armor 18. And these guys can have up to armor 16 for just being in base to base with each other. So a little more diverse, they can be a little more speedy. But with the UA, they can move through each other. and fun stuff there. And to support them, we have Runewood, which I just painted up last night as well. Tried something new, kind of just having his cloak be more. I tried some wet shading. I don't know what it's called. He's there in all his awesomeness. And so he can give commands, and because they're not magic, he can affect the precursor knights. And it gives sword knights reform, so they get to move an extra 3 inches after they activate. Lots of cool things there. Then, oh yeah, and then we have Arlen. So he can give an extra focus to a jack that doesn't have focus, and that can also negate disruption and still give him focus anyways. And you can give him basically parry, just ignore free strikes, or if you miss. He's just a kind of toolbox to support your jacks, and he can repair as well for D6 damage. So we got the Hunter. Great, he's got armor piercing. He's pretty light, he's pretty weak, but he's got Pathfinder, and he's just fun, and he's got extended control range, so you can like literally run him 24 inches away from your caster, or a 6 focus caster, and still be fine, which is a really long ways away in War Machine. Ironclad, basic stuff there. Defender, great range jack, tons of great damage, and then he's great in melee as well. He's just very diverse jack, and so you kind of like walk up the field pounding them to bits, and then when the time comes you can run it with your hammer and be just as effective, not more. But you just have to worry about getting a hit back. But when the time comes, you know, the Hunter armor piercing can almost do as much damage as Defender against large targets, but as soon as they start buffing armor, the Hunter becomes less and less effective, and it's any like small base models, the Defender really shines if they're like taking out UAs or small base casters. We got Thunderhead. I've only played him a few times, but his pulse is great to take out swaths of infantry, and he's just tough jack, and he's lots of fun. He's got, with his sustained attack, it's really nice. You just boost the first roll, hit it, and you don't have to roll to hit ever again with either his ranged or his melee. At least that turn, if you're only attacking the same target. Centurion, oh my goodness, I love this guy. He's very slow, he's only speed 4, but with his polarity shield he can prevent charging on himself, and with reach you can hide people behind him, and so if, you know, 2 inches out, free strikes, he can guard a big chunk of the board by himself. For people who are trying to flank you, you can like move over, and the Centurion by himself can guard the flank, because he's base armor 21, you boost him with a journeyman up to armor 24, he's just the hard nut to crack. He's got a lot of hitboxes. Charger, very focus intensive usually, but can surprisingly deal lots of damage. He's rate of fire 2, which is unique for any other jack in the Cygnar, and so that's awesome. Well, I guess Thunderhead's rate of fire 3, but he's got like a weird gun with like overcharges and shoots electricity. So Charger's cool, you can know all that. We got Stormclad, which I always forget he has a ranged attack, it's only range 8, but he's a POW plus strength 9 on his sword. Big electrical sword, he can just wail on stuff. He's a big damage dealer. And the Lancer, who acts as our arc node, which is fantastic, and he's also got the shield, which causes cortex damage, and Espiro's reach, so that's nice. The set defense makes him a lot harder to hit on a charge as well. It keeps him alive. He's just really kind of like a damage absorber because he's got the same armor as a heavy jack. So that is that. I think I covered everybody. Except, of course, Mr. Stonewall, Mr. Colossal. Look how big and pretty he is. And he's got his little storm pods that he can lay down. Basically, once per turn, you can, within 10 inches, you can just make one land. And you do a direct line from the middle of his base to the middle of the pod base. And the lightning pod deals strength 10 hit on everything in between. But it's electrical, so if you're immune to lightning, then it will not do anything. Otherwise, it's great for just blocking movement. If you can't hit anything, you can take out a couple infantry if you're up and engaged. You can drop it whether you're engaged or not. And the Colossals have all these cool rules where they can shoot if they're engaged. They can just ignore the melee underneath them and just fire at whatever they want. But the melee guys are still there. And like what I was saying earlier, I've only ever fielded him with Darius, because Darius's feat is that all warjacks, and the Colossal counts as a warjack, not a heavy warjack or a light warjack, just a warjack. But all warjacks in base to base with one of these guys, or Darius himself, gets fully healed. So it kind of put out him as bait, but not allow enough stuff to come and kill him. So he's usually 3/4 dead. At feet, he's up to full strength, and then he hits back and kills everything that was trying to kill him, and they just don't have enough steam to win the game. Darius is very, very powerful with that, but it's great. So moving along over here, work in progress. Again, I still have to base a lot, but that should take an afternoon, maybe an hour max. We got the new Nemo caster, 3mo, with Finch. Again, just starting to paint these guys. I kind of lost interest for whatever reason. I don't know. I think it's because I'm waiting for the new Storm Guard to come out. Because I want them, just because they have more electrical damage, just uses feet more effectively. But also to go along with him, but especially just because of him and Stonewall, are Stormcallers. You're about to blister 3 of them. Again, they're just primed. And our artillery piece, one of our artillery pieces, Storm Tower. So range 14, power 14, pretty good. But he's artillery, so if he moves, can't shoot. So that's it, 136 points. Hope you enjoyed this showcase. Again, it's going to be continually added to. I love War Machine a lot. I love my Cygnar. I might move on to a Hordes army in the future, probably not near future, just because I kind of want to explore. And again, I only have 3 casters plus a 4th. And with all the added infantry that I have now, I might get Constants and maybe get another few heavy warjacks. Start doubling up, because I have most all the heavy warjacks. Maybe get Old Rowdy for Striker, and maybe get the Ironclad variant, Gallant. Looks interesting. Maybe just double, maybe get another Hunter, because that's really effective as well. Just pew pew all down the big guys. So again, I'm having a blast. Any suggestions, comments, anything, please post below. I would love to hear them. And feel free to also post your armies, and our links to it below, or in the description. And I would love to see them. So this is Dan, and happy wargaming.